Andy, as you know, nowadays, not a day passes by without the Western media making some accusations against China about atrocities in Xinjiang. I've never been to Xinjiang, but I understand that you, as Deputy Commissioner of the National Narcotics Control Commission, visited Xinjiang in 2019.
Yes.
What did you find?
Now, during that tour, I made upon myself that I get a better understanding of the terrorist situation in Xinjiang, as well as the counter-terrorist measures undertaken by the government. Obviously, well, I was shown various things. I see people on the street. Now, during my visit, Xinjiang already returned to calm, right? But from the information that I was given, I understand that Xinjiang suffered badly from terrorist attack for almost 1.5 decades.
Wow.
That's a very long time, from the 90s all the way to 2016. And on record were thousands of terrorist attacks and hundreds of fatalities. Now, some of the casualties were officials, some the religious leaders, but most of them were innocent members of the public, men and women, or even children, who happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
What sort of organization was involved in such brutal attacks?
Mainly the ETIM.
ETIM. What does that stand for?
The East Turkestan Independent Movement, which is a listed terrorist organization by the United Nations.
Yeah, I remember in 2001, the UN Security Council passed a resolution, 1373, listing a number of international terrorist organizations. I think Hong Kong also designated ETIM.
That's correct.
Yeah. So what else did you see in Xinjiang? Were there mosques? Were the Xinjiang people able to carry on their traditional way of life?
Right. Now, I went to a number of places, including Urumqi or Urumqi. I also went to Kashgar or Kashi, as well as Ili. So I was shown, among other things, religious buildings, mosques. I could say mosques were just about everywhere. Just about everywhere. And during my visit, one of the oldest mosques is under renovation. I happened to be able to meet the imam. He told me all about the mosque, the history of the mosque, and what they're doing to make it a living monument, as well as a place of worship by everyone who wants to go to the mosque. Now, that's very exceptional indeed. Now, I also see old places, old towns being rebuilt. Now, for those of you who read about the Silk Road, you probably heard about the ancient town of Kashi.
Yeah, Kashi.
The old town used to be made of mud. The houses made of mud. All right. Now completely rebuilt. I toured around the newly rebuilt town and saw children playing happily in the open space, and old gentlemen and ladies sitting on their doorstep enjoying the breeze of the evening. This is life in Kashi. And as you know, Kashi was once a worst hit location when we talk about terrorist attack. So life changed.
Well, were the Uyghur people and the other ethnic minorities, were they allowed to wear their traditional clothing, speak the language, do their own dancing, singing?
Saw them everywhere. No, I went to the market town in Kashi, the old market town, as well as the night market. These Uyghurs, ladies and gentlemen, folks, they were doing all sorts of folk songs and folk dance.
So there was no evidence of eradication of their culture or language.
All I could see actually are smiles on the face of people. I saw people walking on the street. You know, the mother holding the hands of their children, and younger people who probably walking in the area, very happy. I also visited the night market. A lot of the people who patronize the night market were locals.
Yeah.
Many of them Uyghurs. So they enjoyed the new
stability,
the security as much as anyone else.
So you've been around a lot, you know. And what about the economic situation there?
Improving, in particular tourism. Now, when they were suffering from the terrorist attack, no one dare go near Xinjiang. So it was dead water. All right, but now you could see tourists just about everywhere. And according to official report, tourism actually flourished to such an extent that the infrastructure is trying hard to keep up with the growth.
Yeah. And Xinjiang has very beautiful scenery. I heard very beautiful mountains and lakes and all that.
Yes.
You know? Did you get a chance to visit those mountain ranges? You know?
I went to one particular location, a mountainside, which they intend to build as yet another scenic attraction, employing mostly the local people, retaining the local cultures. So you can see the Uyghurs living in the old, the original, the authentic style of accommodation, riding on the horseback, etc. Either doing the farming or doing breedings of cattle.
So when that BBC program host interviewed me about Xinjiang, making all sorts of fake allegations, I asked him, have you ever been to Xinjiang? Do you know any Uyghur people? The answer is, they have no evidence. They were just repeating other people's lies.
That's not news. Although during my visit, most of the places which I went to were pre-organized. But people in the street, these are people who
real people
who you come across randomly. These are real people. You could tell whether or not they're happy or they're unhappy. I didn't see anyone which showing any signs of distress or whatever.
Well, I hope I'll have the chance to visit one day.
And it's not difficult. I mean, it's not nowadays. Xinjiang is open up to tourism. It's a pity that we now have COVID-19 that prevented us from going. Otherwise, this time of the year would be ideal to go to Xinjiang. You see all sorts of flowers in the mountains, in the pastures, in the countryside.
Good, good. Well, Andy, thank you so much for telling me about your visit to Xinjiang. I hope that next time you can come again and tell us about the so-called re-education centers.
Thank you, Regina. I welcome the opportunity.
Good.
Thank you.